Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors in Winston, Chester. I'm glad you're here this Friday morning. Got a big show lined up and a lot of things to talk about. But first, let's take a look at our weather. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard and hard-working crew, taking care of our everyday comfort needs today. It's going to be a little warm today, but how about up to 85? Low tonight is 69. Water temperature, here it is right here, 78.4. So it's been pretty warm this week at the end of the pier with the water temperature there. Take a look at our river reading brought to us by Panama City, Coca-Cola. The Apalachicola Bluntstown got a little bit of a drop to it this morning. It's reading right at a 6.4. It's about to get right. The Choctaw Caravelle is reading a 4.0. It's got a little bit of a bump in it, a little bit of rain they had, but both rivers honestly going to be in great shape this afternoon and the rest of the weekend. If you want to do some good freshwater fishing, it's going to be good. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Good strong tide today. The low tide this morning at 7:15. Then it's going to start coming in till about 3:45 this afternoon. Take a little pause and start going out, so you can really fish a good strong incoming tide today. Wind's going to be south-southeast, so that's going to help it a little bit. With it being Friday, let's go ahead and do our fishing game times here in this segment here, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. That sale is going on down there right now. They have some great sales on all kind of fishing equipment and some guns also. The time this morning, actually 6 to 8 o'clock, even time, and this evening 6:27, 8:27. That's when that tide is moving out real strong. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, and look at our guest this Friday, Daniel Cole. Good to see you, buddy.
Hello.
We've been trying to get our schedules squared away. Finally got them in here today, but you've been a busy man.
We have been.
But you actually took time to go fishing. Listen to
We
this.
did.
I mean, this is what we all got to do is, time out, let's go fishing. That's what you did?
It was a long, extended wait to do that, but yeah, we finally made time and went.
That's good. Y'all went brim fishing? Or?
Yeah, we went and did a little bit of everything. We did freshwater fishing last weekend up in the Chipola River, and we did pretty good. So
Nice
turned around and went again the next day. And
2 days in a row?
2 days in a row, and then we got back to work in the reality of life. So hoping to go again soon.
We were talking about that before, so that's honestly what you got to do. You just got to stop and go. And I know your wife enjoys fishing, you said?
Yep, she does, and our little girl loves it. So.
Yeah. And when y'all first started fishing, y'all had like a little wooden boat, or what? When y'all first?
Yeah, all those years ago, we had a little wood bateau. It was built by some gentleman over in Weewall, and I think it was 12 foot. It was very small.
Was
had a little 9-horse Johnson Seahorse on it, and man, we covered one end of Bear Creek to Econfina Creek with that thing, and we loved it. And then I don't know, we've moved on to bigger and better things, but don't have the time to use them anymore.
And is that not the true story of so many of us? It really is. And but speaking of boats and taking care of boats, I know this time of year you run into all kind of things. You're talking about boat. We've got to talk about boat maintenance because he's our boat expert here on our show. And so what I know electrical things. What's the big deal with those?
Well, it's definitely time. Just like every year we talk about, flushing out our engines, flushing out our fuel system. The other thing, I think it really gets overlooked more than anything, is batteries. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to know about batteries. A lot of people unknowingly shorten the life of their battery. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's AGM, if it's flooded lead acid, if it's a lot of people are going to the newer type batteries, lithiums, but they're very expensive, and they give you a little more life, but they're expensive. So I think the majority of people are still using lead acid, and so important things to remember. Don't let it get down below 80. Some people say 70, some people say 80. Don't let it get below 80% capacity, because once you get below that, especially if you get down closer to 60 or 50, that battery will start to degrade. And you can recharge it, but you're going to shorten the amount of life cycles it'll have to be able to recharge.
That's interesting. Most folks don't know that. They'll sit it up all winter and just let it sit there.
And I'm guilty of that.
Me too.
I'm guilty of that. There's actually a great segment by Nigel Calder on YouTube. He's a boat expert, and he talks about, the importance of maintaining a battery, keeping it charged, even when we're not using it, keeping it on a maintainer. I've been guilty of not running it for a long time. I get ready to go, so I go put the charger on it, make sure it's hot to go the next day.
Yep.
But that time lapse in between, the battery's degrading.
Yeah.
And so you're better off to keep the battery maintained above 80%. You don't have to leave it plugged in all the time, but plug it in, maintain it for a little bit, unplug it.
Well, that's been a debate a lot. We've talked with people. I know some people keep it plugged in all the time, and some people just charge it a couple of days before. So I honestly don't know. So I guess there's two schools of thought.
It depends on the battery, and it really because you can overcharge even on a maintainer. You can still have a problem with the actual battery charger maintainer, and it may sit there and you don't know it's boiling your battery. So there's things that go both ways, but the big thing is just keep it charged 70% plus all the time if you can. And even if you unplug that charger maintainer, it's not going to drop down below that, within a week or two. So I recommend plug it in on the weekend, unplug it, and if the battery's good, it should respond fine.
That's a good idea.
The other thing I get asked a lot about is, people talk about marine wiring is so expensive, and the components are so expensive, and so I get asked about, well, what about terminals? What if you use, automotive terminals for your battery things? Well, mostly automotive battery terminals stuff is going to be steel that's plated with tin.
Okay.
Once you really crank down the nut on it, you've broke the tin, and now you've got steel in a marine environment, so it's probably not going to last. So you're better off, as my buddy says, to pay once, cry once, get what you need, do it right the first time, and then not have to worry about it.
Pay once, try once. I like that.
Yep.
And just do it right the first time.
It'll last a lot longer, the equipment. And the other thing, too, is people don't realize that the rating systems are different. Automotive is on SAE, and boating is on AWG. So it's not the mechanic standard, it's the American wiring gauge is what we want to go by when we're sizing power loads for our boats.
Okay.
It's different, wiring size is different, and the wiring type is different. So
Okay, that sounds very interesting. We'll take a quick break, we'll be right back with Daniel. Okay, welcome back. Daniel and I were talking during the break there. There's some important things that most of us don't know. We just take for granted. Go ahead on that. We're talking about it.
Well, continuing on the theme of the batteries, the other thing is that within our electrical circuits, we know that on any type of marine environment, we want to stick with stainless, but it's important to never let, for instance, a stainless washer get between the two interfaces that the current is going through. I know that certain types of bus bars, I've seen it where they'll have a washer that helps lock the nut down on top of the ring terminal, and I have seen in a couple instances where people have accidentally let the washer fall between the two surfaces, the ring terminal and the actual post there. And because stainless has such a high resistance electrically, it will begin to heat, and as it heats, it can even cause a fire. So there's nothing wrong with using stainless in your electrical system. Just be sure it never comes between the two interfaces where the power is flowing through.
That's interesting. And I bet some fires have been caused by that, by people who don't know.
Very possibly. The other thing they'll do is they'll heat up and they'll cause nuisance tripping of fuses. And so fuses will pop and people think, man, there's something wrong with my boat. I keep blowing a fuse. I don't know why. It's a ghost problem. And then come to find out it's just the way the ring terminal is installed is misplaced. They've got it out of sequence. So
that's interesting.
Little things like that will drive you crazy and ruin your fishing trip. So
yeah, sure will. Well, that's some good stuff right there, I'll tell you. I've got some pictures. You know, with the weekend we got a drawing coming up next. We always got a fishing forecast, but I want to show some pictures of what all's been going on. But I pulled this one out because I knew Daniel was going to be on the show. Let's see. It's in this. Is this not a beautiful picture? Now everybody watching this show, I know tomorrow or this afternoon, you want to be sitting in a place like this.
Absolutely.
And leaving all your troubles behind and getting out on the water. But that's a beautiful Florida Panhandle right there, just along the creek and the rivers. Okay, and then you wanted to end up resulting like this.
There you go, right there.
I think this is Jose Ponce sent this, and we're gonna do some of that. We're gonna have a fish fry today up there at Mosley with Teacher Appreciation. I started the fish fries about 30 years ago for the faculty. It's a funny story because the fish fries in the South, I just always bring people together.
That's right.
Fries. And about 30 years ago, well, I tell you what, it was 93 when we started out the WED program, I told the kids, I said, we're going to have a fish fry for your teachers. And they said, all of them? And it was funny. Oh, you mean Miss So-and-so? She's mean, Coach. I said, you know, kids. I said, that's okay. We're going to bring them all in. And we, the first year, the kids brought their own brim, their own catfish and all. We did it behind the gym, and we fried me and a couple of coaches fried it up. And that began, and the teachers appreciated it so much because no one ever done that. And then we started getting a really big deal, and the kids were bringing, mom was bringing baked potatoes, potato salad and all kinds of stuff. It became a huge deal in teacher appreciation, and so a lot of schools do it. So we're doing the one at Mosley today for the 30th consecutive year, thanks to the outdoor education class doing that. But it got to the point where when the summer was over, the first day of school, all the teachers would come back and hey, how you doing? You have a good summer and all that. They came to me and instead of saying, Coach, you have a good summer, they said, Coach, when are we going to do the fish fry? You know, I said, let's wait on it. But anyway, that's one picture there. Another one now, listen, this is down at St. Joe Bay. Check this out. Chase Wilder, he got in some redfish right there. And it's been a good, we're going to talk about the dinner fishing report, it's been a good week on redfish, releasing that, and that could win a spot tournament. And I know, you know, we had the tournament last weekend at Cape San Blas with the Swivel Sisters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. Good fish there. Now I got Angie Howell Coughlin, one of my former students. This is her first pompano this season. Now Angie's a good fisher lady, but she gets after it. And she fishes like us when she can. But she was tickled with it. I told her I was going to put her picture on the show. She said she just gets excited hearing about that. So good job, Angie. I'm so proud of you. So, and also, one of my big sponsors has been with us since day one, Levon, Lighting by Levon. Listen, they're doing their annual warehouse sale, and it's going on right now. It's today and tomorrow. But right there in Lynn Haven, at a location, save thousands and all kinds of. So we got 2 sponsors having big sales this weekend, Blue Water Outrigger and Lighting by Levon. But if you've been thinking about getting some lights and all, she's sending this out to family and friends. This is definitely a big sale from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. today and tomorrow from 8 to 2. So check them out. Okay, so we got all kinds of good things. One more picture because this guy here is a legend as far as I'm concerned. This is Houston Taylor. It's just another 9-pounder. I mean, that's all it is, another 9-pounder. This man here has caught as many bass as almost as anybody in a lifetime. Even maybe Bobby Smith might have caught more. But Houston Taylor, that's a great picture right there. So all these things are going on here in Panhandle. That's pompano right there, that's bass right there, that's redfish, and it's been a good week.
Yep.
So the key to it all is finding time to go do it. Well, you got to make time to do it.
We do, and you know, we always say once we go, man, we're going to keep doing that, and it seems like we just get tangled up again. And
yeah,
you know, there's nothing wrong with working, being busy, but I just really enjoy that time.
You know. And I know back there during hunt season, I know you love to go quail hunting, and then we got to take time to do that. Then we got to take time to get out into the water.
That's right.
The woods and water, the Florida Panhandle. That's helped a lot of folks.
A lot of people would love to be here, live where we live, and have what we have.
And a lot of people are catching on to it. They're coming down.
They are, but it's sad that we don't even get to take advantage of it a lot of times, and we're right here.
I know it. And I tell people too. I ran into one of the our fishing guides last night, Jason Shingler, and we were talking. He's a fishing guide, and I told him, I said, I tell our viewers, especially ones that are new here, to hook up with a local captain. Go out with them and just learn some basic fundamentals instead of just trying to go out and learn everything on your own right away. And then when you go to that captain, if you have a chance, you go out and do some of the things you learn. And that's a good way to do it. All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll get ready for our drawing for the all that seafood. So let's take our break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. First thing we want to do on this Friday, we want to draw names for the Tarpon Dock Seafood. I'm going to let Daniel draw them. Remember, the first one is going to be the winner of a $20 gift certificate to Tarpon Dock. And get you whatever kind of fish or crab you want. All the way from Wausau, Matthew Allen Finch. Okay, Matthew, and that big red snapper. Big red snapper. And that winner is all the way from Henson Crossroads, Candy Strength. I love these little communities we have historically. Communities, early names and all. Henson Crossroads is one of them. So good job, Candy and Matthew. Congratulations, and y'all know my phone number. Let me know when you're gonna cook them up, and I'll see if I can make it out there. I do have one more picture because Billy Grantham sent this the other day, and I've got to show this right here. You hear Lake Seminole red hot. Look at Billy. Billy's gonna come on the show one day next week, but they've been catching some nice fish up at Lake Seminole. That'll give you the fever, won't it?
Yeah, it will.
I'm telling you, but I love to share those with you too. And that's the bass, the brim, everything else going on too. So we were talking about. We know we want to get our boat ready and everything like that. But the big thing is, I had Travis Bassford on the show, and you were aware of it too, because it happened down in where you grew up, the boating accidents and all, and for instance, that boating accident in Apalachicola. Yeah. That was just a pure accident where they couldn't see each other.
It shows us just like being on the road. You come to a blind corner, you need to slow down and look and see what's happening.
And you knew some of the folks, knew some of them that happened to, so it's not just people coming in and not knowing what they're doing. It's some veteran people that grew up in the area and not knowing, but wearing your life jacket.
It's a very sad situation.
Are you good about wearing your life jacket?
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Most of the time. I was like that too, but now all the time I put on my jacket. I just seen so much happen, and it can happen so quick and all. So
yeah. I never go by myself that I don't wear it the whole time. Sometimes, sitting there when you're locked down at anchor and you're fishing, I may not, but it's a good habit to be in. Okay,
let me give our famous Friday fishing forecast. It was pretty short because I knew I was going to talk about it, and the first thing I wrote down, freshwater's hot. Freshwater's hot. You can see from Billy and all the pictures and all. This is a good weekend to go freshwater fishing. And mayflies are starting to pop out. They're trying to keep it a secret, but mayflies, they don't know within a day. They just go by this temperature. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, we actually had them on the boat when we went last week.
Did you really?
Yeah, up at Chipola, they're out.
Okay, so be aware of that. So now's a great time to go fly fishing and get up on those willow trees, and I just have so many fond memories of that. That's so much fun. Also, keep in mind catfish, and you're getting ready to go catfishing.
Yep, planning a flathead trip.
That's going to be fun.
All-nighter.
Somewhere along the Apalachicola?
Yep.
Who all is going with you?
Just my buddy Max.
Okay. And now, you think you're going to be able to stay awake all night? You're going to doze off some? Or?
I'm planning on napping.
That's the thing about it. I've talked to guys, I haven't done it, but I've talked to guys, I've done all-nighters of doing, checking trot lines and those kind of things, actually sitting on a boat. They just said you sort of just drift off. And then that reel, how do you have something on a reel that just, on a rod that just rings or something, or just hear that line?
Well,
speaking?
we use pins because where we go, they get pretty big.
Yeah.
So we'll just put the clicker on, and you'll hear it when they first pick it up. You'll hear click, 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 click
yeah.
as they pull off.
I
And
wish you know.
you let it sit for a while and make sure they got it inside of them, and then you just start reeling. And
Great point right there. Make sure they got it partly swallowed.
yeah, because we have pulled them too soon, and it's funny the amount of damage, how much pressure they have, what that flathead can do to the back end of a brim. You'll see it just like until it's flattened out, but they didn't get it in. It was pulled too soon. But they typically pull it away, and they may drop it, and then they may inhale it, and that's what you want to wait for. So don't be too quick in letting it go, because if you're using, like we're using 60-pound braided line, so we're not worried about him getting breaking line or hooking it. I mean, we want him to get it set right.
What a great fishing tip right there, and that's so important with him being able to swallow it. And because sometimes we jerk. Okay, one more quick thing on saltwater bait fishing. Wade fishing is. I've had some friends wade fishing. They've done real well this past week or two. So wade fishing is going to be hot this weekend, and the surf fishing should be steady. The June grass hasn't made it yet, so take advantage of the brim fishing, wade fishing, and surf fishing. Good weekend for that.
Sometime we need to get together. I would love to go pompano fishing with you. I've never been pompano fishing.
Yep.
And I've tried, but I've never had success. And I think you just got to have somebody who knows what they're doing.
A lot of viewers doing it now, and they report they've had a good week. I had a guy went the other day, caught 2 right around 9 o'clock, fished the rest of the day, didn't catch any. And that's the way it goes. Sometimes you just burn them up, sometimes you miss them. But it's a good time to go now.
Gotcha.
And we've run out of time, buddy. We knew we would, but always appreciate it.
It always happens.
If you have any questions, you'll get a hold of me or something on your boat, and we'll get a hold of Daniel and try to give you some good expert advice. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors this week. We appreciate your viewership. You take care of outdoors and you enjoy outdoors. Have a great weekend, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.